What's
I'm
up?
ready.
What's up? You ready?
Hello.
Is everybody ready? Oh, we
No.
got Nate back here just packing up clothes or something. I don't know what he's doing. Way to start the show, Nate. Way
I'm
to
drinking
drop the ball.
Start.
What's going on, people? It's a
Is my
Friday
lighting
night
okay?
fireside. Is your lighting okay?
Yo. Hello.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hello.
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 Luke
Hello.
just made it right before we came
Hello.
on. That's awesome.
I know.
Pierre is supposed to come on, our Quebecian friend, but I don't know. I guess they have different time up there or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I think they're on EST, right?
I don't know.
I know that
Usually
Canada does have
he knows
one
the
time
time.
zone that's a little bit further east. They have another hour zone ahead of that's ahead of the Eastern time zone in the United States, but I don't know where that is.
We do stuff all the time. He knows what time to be on here. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So what's going on? What's going on today? I got my boy. That's my boy over there doing something, folding his clothes. He is
Yeah.
airman first class. Is that how you say it, son?
Yep.
Yep. He's an Air Force guy.
Folding
And,
clothes?
Folding clothes. And he comes
You s-
on and he folds clothes.
Podcast starting.
And
Time to
he's a
fold.
podcast.
I'm multitasking.
I mean, this is
Oh.
great.
We're gonna see how
great
many
way to
yellow
start.
shirts he owns.
One.
Five
This
yellow
is
shirts.
like
But that's all the shirts he owns. Five.
He's
Five
been in the
yellow shirts.
military for like 6 months or so or something like that. And he's just now asking my wife, how much Clorox do I put in for my whites? He still don't know how to wash clothes. I mean,
As far as I know, you just put them in the wash machine and like buy that like gallon tub of detergent and just pour like a quart of it in there.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
that's
supposed to use the
exactly right.
cap. The cap has measuring lines on it for you. Honestly.
Yeah, and he works on planes, so that makes me feel really safe.
For Boeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Boeing.
Boeing. Yeah, no,
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So we got topics tonight. We actually have specific topics. Kind of organize this a little bit better. And the
Heck
first
yeah.
topic, the first question is, what do you do in the stormy times of life? Which I think is very relevant for this week because we had the hurricane come through. Of course, I know some of y'all were safer than others. And we just had a stormy past 24 hours in our personal little chat thing.
Well, I'll tell you what they do on a ship is they batten down the hatches and they
Batten down
pull
the
sail.
hatches.
They batten down the hatches. That's the way they'll say it to you as well. If you're on a ship, you got to batten down the hatches. Why would you do this during a storm? So that your sails don't blow away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Very true.
So protect your tools.
Yes. Yes.
Protect the tools. Okay, so make sure all your resources are covered and board up the windows and
So even if you get wet, the electronics are safe.
yeah.
That would be ideal.
Would-
Yeah. Well, throw your phones in Ziploc bags by all means.
Yeah. So then, like, metaphorically speaking,
Yes, metaphorically.
for your mind, you can't let certain things get damaged. Right? You can't lose sight of certain things. So what would those things be? Like
Metaphorically or literally?
You can take a beating, but what part of you can you absolutely not let that happen to?
My eyes. Honestly.
Well, no, like your inner
Here,
this
not
this
physically.
thing, inside the like your pride, your dignity, your
liver.
ego.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. What do you have to safeguard? Which personality traits do you have to safeguard?
Right.
Or
Your
which
endpoint.
personality altogether?
Sure.
I mean, honestly, it's about preserving the core, right? The core that you need to function as an individual, right? Because you could say, let's say you could talk about what's expendable. Really, is what you don't need to protect, right? What you can leave out, what you can forget. So I think it's more important to determine not necessarily what are you protecting as much as it is to say, okay, well, what do I need to function? Because that's how you can prioritize what you're actually protecting. Because some of these things that you need to function, they can't move. They cannot be protected necessarily. You can't just take something that's in a solitary place, right? That's affixed to something, and then pull it back behind a closed door and throw it in a safe, right? It has to be there to function.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you safeguard something that has to be left in the open?
What parts do you need to be like rust proof, bulletproof, but the others are like can be dropped. What this reminds me of is like when I'm at work, what I've been doing recently is I'll like push like humor a lot, but then have this like internal trigger mechanism where it's like if I feel like I've been joking around for more than a minute, like kind of like I work in a factory, so like it's like this time between you joking around and knowing when your supervisor is going to like yell at you from across the room and be like quit doing that. So it's like I've adopted my own, like it's like, oh, I have, and it's not something I count, but it's like I'll be joking, and then I'll like stop suddenly at like the end of a joke and then look for something to do. And this kind of like makes it so that people don't, I'm not joking for too long, and then my supervisor says, hey, like, what are you doing talking, right? So I guess in that example, it's like I always have an internal thing that's saying, even when I'm having fun, that something could happen, like to be aware that someone's going to yell at you.
Yeah, being aware of the of the coming storm, I guess.
That's
what's up here.
Right.
What's up? How are you?
Hello.
All right, bro. Man, he's got the setup. We all look.
I don't think I actually safeguard any of myself, to be honest. I just leave it there, hanging out.
Everything's up to the elements.
Pretty much. I mean, like, just ask anybody that knows me. What do I actually safeguard about myself? To be honest, Jay, what do I safeguard about myself? What do I protect?
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
You protect your attitude of I don't protect anything.
There you
True.
go. Yeah,
that's
we
like,
all got a core. We all.
Yeah.
And I think that's one main thing is we got the going through the storms of life. We go down to that core.
Nathaniel protects
cut all
his
the rest
clothes
off.
for sure.
Yeah, Nathaniel protects his clothes.
The clothes.
Yeah. So you don't have much.
It's like always got to have a dry pair of socks, right? Like always keep your feet dry. Like that's a that's a thing.
Yeah. So how'd y'all get ready for the storm there, Nate?
Well, first off, we evacuated every single plane that we had. So that meant 12-hour shifts across the board until all of them were gone. And then we started moving all the stuff that we couldn't transport off base into the hangars. Then we locked up the hangars. And then we secured the doors. And then we all got sent home and waited for the evacuation notice.
All right. Now correlate that to life and the stormy times of life, like the junk you're going through now. With the baby coming and transitioning to being on your own and having a family, and how's that transition?
That information hit you. What did you do?
I started preparing. Like I just had to, I had to sit down for a moment. Realistically, when I first learned my wife was pregnant, it was in basic, and even with all the hecticness of basic going on, I just had to sit down in my bunk for a second and just process some stuff. And I was just like, okay, well, on top of being in the military, I can't just get off work and go home and play video games anymore. It's not school. I can't just sleep at school and then come home and play VR for 4 hours until dinner and then pass out and do the same thing tomorrow. I have to be productive. I can't fall into my old ways, because that was, I gotta say, mentally, that was a way of, back when I was in school, that was a way of, whenever the hard times did come, that was the way I mentally protected myself, was just, and it wasn't really too healthy. I envisioned myself as, if I avoid this problem, I don't have to deal with it. If I just pretend the problem doesn't exist, I don't have to deal with it. And that would cause a domino effect, and it would cause more problems. And I just ignored those two. And that's how I ended up being a high school dropout, no GED, working a minimum wage job.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not the answer. That's
But then
that's not the answer.
once I realized that, my dad sat me down in the front yard with my mom, and we had a good talk. I had a lot to consider. And once I started realizing, this isn't all that I wanted out of life, and this storm wasn't going to go away until I dealt with it, I I got my GED. I started preparing mentally for the adult life, and I'll be honest, I'm not fully prepared. I don't think anyone is, personally, from what
Never.
I've seen. Even guys I've met a couple TAC-P troops, and those are the guys that go out on rescue missions. And even they're not 100% mentally sound. They know how to focus. They don't know how to. Well, I don't know what they don't know how to do. I'm not privileged to that information. But I just had to really sit down and start preparing, get stuff moving. Get the apartment. Get baby stuff, get stuff organized, get stuff ready to go for TMO. Get life rolling, because I can't just sit anymore.
Yeah. What you say, Pierre? How do you handle going through the stormy times of life? How do you
Yeah.
prepare for that or whatever?
I mean, I always try to remember that I only control myself and how I react. So it always depends of the storm too. We don't react to we react differently to different storm. I mean, I depend of what storm you're talking about. What kind of storm?
The storm, like metaphorically, the troubling times, the times where a crisis.
like
Um,
a
Go
truth
ahead.
bomb, or like a health issues, either someone else's or your own, stuff like that.
I mean, I'm really a calm person in life. Uh, I always try to see if I can do something, and if I can't, I do some research, and I talk to a close friend and people like this to see other point of view for about the storm, and I try to take it and go in the eye of the storm if you want. There is no other way for me. I don't think trying to run for the storm, you can go against nature. So I try to live with the storm. I think by living with the storm, the storm begin to be smaller and smaller, and with time, the storm become just a small breeze in your life. I
Yeah,
think.
Mhm.
you rationalize with it.
Yeah. I'm a deeply rational person in life. So yeah.
What about you, Jay? You got a
Um,
storm today.
we had a storm today. I didn't do a
And
damn
yesterday.
thing to prepare for it either. So this is a great question. Yeah. And you know what? It turned out okay. I had
Yeah.
a tree come down.
Oh yeah,
And it
glad.
came within 3 feet of the house.
Whew.
Um,
Mm.
and that's it. In general, the older I get, the clearer it is to me that storms pass, man. So
Yeah.
whenever anything comes at me, do some breathing exercises.
Well, one of the things
And
my dad likes to say, and he's a boomer, is "This too shall pass." Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fucking true.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
all those old codgers running around saying all those old things. There's a reason they say that shit, and it's true.
No,
Oh.
old shit are often true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
cliches are cliche for a reason, as cliche as it is to say.
I have so
Yeah.
much to say now, off of
Yeah,
what
your brain's just working.
it's off of what Nathaniel said, and also what was just said. Uh,
Hmm.
I'll work from the back to front. I would say like there's often a bad light shed on copes, and then juxtaposed to like what Brow talked about, uh, which is like rationalization, which is like defeating the cope and like actually doing the work.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but then it hit me. It was kind of like cope is kind of like our last ditch resort biological safety net that stops you from full on self destruction.
Yeah.
And cope in itself can be an art. Like I know for myself, I've coped better in healthier ways than people who have done harder shit with their life and destroyed their bodies or destroyed their mental health or destroyed, like I felt like even though we're both coping there, it's an art in itself, even though it gets,
Hmm.
that's like a point to make, because people just say the word cope and it's like, well, not everyone copes the same or to the same kind of like um capability. So
Hmm.
like when Nathaniel was like, I went to my coping and then I had to stop my coping because I needed to get into like, real life mode. That's what that came up with. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I guess devil's advocate type thing or steel man, the concept of coping, like
Hmm.
not to like down yourself about what you have done, because other people may have done that far worse than you.
Oh no,
And
you do.
yeah, and then I mean, what Nathaniel has done is like switched himself into what Brad talked about, the full on rationalization process, which I've only just started doing myself maybe a year ago, um, which is like attack the truth always and never leave things to like push it off. Like maybe you plan and then you kind of have its own time, but you don't like completely ignore it for the sake of some thing in your mind, your dignity or your
Hmm.
pride or whatever is going on. Um, and I forgot the second thing I was going to say, so that's it.
Okay.
Dignity is a good word. Dignity is a good word. I like dignity. I'd like to kind of play off on that. So we're protecting. Let's just say that we're all protecting our own sense of dignity, right? Well, does everybody even have a sense of dignity? What does that mean? And what would it be to like to dignify something, right?
I
Like
think
what is that?
it's inherent in every debate on violation, physical or mental. Like that's what's being violated, your dignity.
Hmm.
I think it's not like ego or self worth. I think it's like if your personage is literally being assaulted and destroyed, either like physically or mentally, that's what you're fighting for. And on the macro level, it's why nations attack each other and then want to counterattack each other, and why
Yeah.
everything's happening always in the Middle East and everywhere forever. Like ancient hatreds are because two opposing groups have the same like basic element, dignity, and but they have a different narrative that protects it. And then the
Hmm.
narrative attacks, but the dignity is the thing that's trying to be saved.
Does that mean that dignity inherently has a social aspect to it?
Like virtue?
Right. Has a social aspect. Like, can you frame that slightly different? Like social.
Well, you were talking about so dignity, so you can kind of talk about dignity as a type of self-worth, right? But there's a whole different word for it, and I'm wondering if or respect, like self-respect, or something to that effect. And I wonder if dignity is only applicable if you're in a group of people.
Well, what does it mean to be indignant? Because being indignant is literally being the opposite of having dignity, right?
I think dignity is lack of self-destruction. Like, you are the most dignified in the room if you have the least baseless, like if you are seeking to preserve what you are in every dimension that can be perceived.
But
So you're
so sorry to interrupt you, but can you define dignity? What is it exactly?
Hold on.
From person to person, it's kind of a evasive concept for me.
I think dignity is what you're able to walk away with, whether or not you get everything you want or if you settle, right? And
Pick
if
them up. No.
it's like, who could walk away with dignity after they just murdered tons of
That'll
people
work.
in an armed conflict? It's like no one, but they could settle for the most dignity that they have left, right? Like, it's like certain things kind of debase you, right? But that's the this is off the cuff. I'm not. Yeah, I know you pulled up a definition. I was trying to talk
I get
Yeah,
it.
without
Well, we
what
definition.
was that
figure all this
definition? I
out.
couldn't read it.
Yeah,
It was the
it was so
state
Okay.
of
simple.
being worthy of honor or respect. That's verbatim what it
Yes.
said. The
but
state of
honor
being
and
worthy of honor
respect
and respect.
are themselves an entire thing, right? Like, so it's like you have to keep like recursively, like you have to get into the atomicness of that. But dignity is
Yeah.
non self debasing. Dignity is non self debasing.
Well, yeah, that's the preservation of
And also in a social setting, it's when you're
face.
not debasing others as well. So, like, has anyone ever joked with you and it missed the mark and it felt like weird, but then someone else did something very similar and it hit the mark, even though it kind of felt like bordering that line? You get what I'm saying? It's almost like
Well, how important is dignity when you're going through the storms of life? I mean, this is crisis mode. You
mm,
know, if you're still thinking about dignity and your honor and your respect, I mean, as far as I can tell, with like when Nate was talking about when crisis mode hits, all that stuff goes out the window. It should
Right,
anyway.
which is
Then it's
desperation.
planning time. It's desperation. Yes, it's time to buckle that. Batten down the hatches like we were talking about in the beginning, and get down to the core of what's really important, and make
dignity
a
is
plan.
like
And
you're on a
you know, what I mean,
sinking
you're not. Yeah, go ahead.
Hang on,
you're on a sinking
Pierre.
cruise ship and you save the women and children first. That's dignity, right?
Yeah.
You're not climbing
Okay.
over people.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's kind of right. Like, even though
Maybe it's
you're
definition
about
of
to,
terms problem.
like, you're
Still.
choosing to, you're Leonardo DiCaprio. You're choosing
it,
to die.
it seems like
Okay.
dignity have a multiple face. Like
So in that sense, could we say that dignity is measured by your self-sacrifice?
It's a component in the worst case scenario.
Okay. All right.
seems like dignity is an extension of the ego.
Sorry, of which?
What did you
Sorry,
say,
so,
Peter? I'm
I
An
sorry.
didn't catch
extension of what?
the last word.
Of the ego.
Oh, of
The
the
ego.
ego. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
It looks similar to the ego sometime when you were talking about it later.
Yeah.
hmm.
I think it can
What
be.
was our second topic for the night?
Dignity is
Hold
the
on.
hill you're
What we got
willing to
over here?
die on, says
Yeah.
Tristan.
Yeah, that's what Tristan says. We'll throw it up there.
I
Oh,
feel
good
like it's going
job.
to
Look at
play in
that.
here. I feel like this is going to tie in really well. What would?
It's gonna tie in really well.
Yeah.
Oh, Well,
the
our
hell you're
second
willing to
one is
die.
not going to tie in with that. Let's skip to the third one, which I know you want to talk about. When is it okay to lie?
Mm.
When you have a 4-star general staring at you.
Yes, sir. I did exactly what you told me to do, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The plane is completely functional.
Oh God.
I did not break it.
There you
I
go.
was not
Yeah,
left
exactly.
unsupervised.
This is
That
tying
door
in.
will definitely stay attached.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're gonna throw the thing up there, put it back down.
I am
There you
not
go.
terrified of you at all, or
Sorry.
what you could
Not
possibly do to me or my job.
Yeah.
with a
I
snap of your
have the
fingers.
utmost
I'm
respect for
dishonorably
you and your
discharged.
position, sir. Ha ha.
How about when your
All right,
wife?
so
How
we're
about when your
going
wife
through the
asks you if
storms
the
of
outfit?
life.
Oh, we're still going through the storms of life. Okay.
Well,
No, we're not.
I you
No,
want
the storms are over. There are no more storms.
Let me finish what I'm talking about. We're
Okay,
going through the
go.
storms of life, and it may be necessary to lie in that situation if you
Mm,
want to tie it together, right? So
mm.
I'm in crisis mode, and I need to get something done, and somebody comes at me with a stupid question. I'm going to say whatever comes to mind to get through that
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
on to the
That
next
That's
happens.
thing.
like yeah.
It's
Exactly.
okay to lie
Mhm.
if you plan to tell the truth.
Okay.
Okay.
Why are
So
you lying if
how
you
about
plan
this?
to say?
Elaborate.
Well, how about
Because
like the crisis of us, like in the Nazi, or the Nazis are
well,
coming through
let's
France
talk about
and
time. I
you know
say
what
this
I mean?
because of time.
Okay.
If you're short on time and the lie saves the time and produces the outcome which is ultimately good, then and then when everyone's celebrating, right? Woohoo, we're all yay, crisis averted. You go,
Oh, by the way, I lied to you.
but
The means justify the ends, huh? Is that
then
what we're saying? The
then
means justify the
at
ends.
Well,
least
I
you're
was.
riding the high, right? You're riding the high of the victory, and you always want to tell a bad thing in the face of a good mood, right? You don't want to, come in on someone's worst day and then say the worst thing, right? You want them to have just had their firstborn child, and then you say, you're not getting the raise. Boom. And then
Oh, is that what I've been doing wrong my whole life?
That's a dick move, man.
Mhm.
well,
Wow.
That
that's
is
the only otherwise I would never lie. And
that's rough.
otherwise there's no answer. I wouldn't.
You would never lie.
If
Okay.
you
So you'd
if
never
you
I'm
lie.
have
steel. I'm
something
steel
to
manning right now.
tell
I'm steel
me,
manning.
like,
I'm steel
you're
manning.
not doing a very good job. You're rusty.
I'm steel manning. That's the only other thing I could think. It's like if you had to save time and you have to lie and you plan to tell the truth later, and then you do.
Well, how much later? Because I would say how much later depends on
Well, it
how
has to
far
be up
that
to the
lie goes.
scenario, right? It can't. I can't
Yeah,
tell you like the
because you gotta
universal, like, oh, 5 seconds. It's like
I
I don't
mean
know.
The
that's
five
the
second
longer
rule.
that time goes, the
Yeah.
more lies you got to do to cover up that lie that you
Well,
started
that's
with,
right.
and then
Yeah.
How about tell the truth
how many
before the
lies you gonna
next
tell
lie?
before that time's up?
Tell the truth before the next lie.
Well, it may be the 5
Tell
seconds
the
later.
truth before the next lie.
Or just
It's like, hold on. I just lied to you, but it's okay that I lied to you because hold on, wait for
But,
it.
but
I'm
this is what
I'm gonna
happens in
tell you the
politics.
truth.
This isn't.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
tell you
Yes,
the truth
yes,
instead.
yes. Love it. I love it. Yes, I'm gonna tell you the truth this time.
But this
To
is what
tell you the
happens.
truth.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Oh
have you
my
heard the
goodness, I
term?
But
hate
can
that.
you believe me at that point? That's the question. What about my integrity? And what about trust and all that other stuff? So can you trust me to be honest when I've
Yeah.
been forthright about being false?
How
you lose
many?
Tom
your
says.
credibility. Yeah.
Tom
How
says
many
telling
like
the truth
politicians
later
have?
is irrelevant.
How
Should
many
I say, oh,
politicians
by the way,
have gotten
you
away
did
with
not look
lies?
fat in that dress?
Oh, you did. You did look fat in
You
that dress,
did
by
look
the way.
fat.
Yeah. Sorry.
Lying is commonplace. All I'm saying. I'm not advocating, but I am saying it is used very
Oh, I will
commonly.
absolutely advocate. I will absolutely advocate for lying, okay? And there are many, many reasons that I would advocate for lying for. However, at the start and end of this conversation, I'm going to tell you that when it is okay to lie is never. When should you? There are
Sure.
times and places.
Absolutely.
Okay? It's not okay, but you should do it.
Absolutely. I agree.
When should you do it?
When it provide. Are you familiar with utilitarian ethics?
No.
Yeah, are you
Okay.
utilitarian?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, but utilitarian ethics applies to my personal views on lying. Okay, does that make sense?
So if it saves a group of people over one person, it's okay.
I mean, it really it's all nuanced. I mean, you have to really get into the whole relativism thing when you're talking about when is it generally okay to lie versus when is it specifically okay to lie, because you could say, okay, well, like generally speaking, okay, if you were to tell me that a promise that had been made and plans that had been made, right, were now being canceled and postponed because of something that's beyond the control of the parties that are the closest involved, right? I'm going to probably lie to the people involved, right, about the way I'm feeling about it, because it's not their problem, right? They're not the ones that deserve to be judged, and they don't deserve my wrath because it's not their fault, right? And if they ask me, is this okay? No, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. I'm not okay with this, but I have to be because there's nothing I can do about it anyway, right? So I'm going to lie to them, and I'm going to tell them, hey, look, it's fine, right? It's okay. I'm going to deal with this. And then I'm going to deal with this, and it's going to be fine. But realistically, in that moment, no.
There are different types of lies. That's what this makes me think. It's like,
yes,
it's like that scenario just sounds like things were changed, and having to say the change is a lot harder than just saying something convenient, and no one will catch you for that lie. So a lie that is convenient and cannot be caught on is a permissible lie.
Well, that's kind of what Tom said. You should lie when the lie being discovered does not hurt your reputation. Yeah.
Isn't that white lies, right? Like that's the phrase is like a little white lie.
Well, we have the big lies too, like the scenario, the huge, like I was bringing up earlier about the Hitler, the Nazis coming through France, and you got some Jews hiding in your basement, and they come and ask you, do you have Jews hiding in your basement? And you'd say, of course I don't. That would be, Heil Hitler.
You're going to shoot me, officer, if I did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So there's those kind of lies. That's a pretty big,
let's talk about a different kind of big lie.
Yeah,
what
you
if you
killed
lie? What if you lie to somebody because you did something they wouldn't like? And like, okay, so say you're in a relationship with somebody and they cheat on you, and they, of course, lie. They never cheated on you. Is that okay to lie about because you're preserving the relationship, or is it necessary to tell the truth?
Does that really preserve the relationship? Are we? Does it?
Does it? Does it not?
Does it? Does it?
No, it does not.
You only want to preserve yourself when you lie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't either, because it still eats you up inside.
It's like Nathaniel was talking earlier when I arrived. You just escaping from what you have to face when you lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about telling the truth after you lie then. So if you tell that lie and you tell it in order to preserve the relationship, but it eats you up inside, at what point is telling the truth then a selfish act?
Immediately.
To relieve yourself of that pain.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It will always suck, but it's better than keeping the lie.
Yeah, because sorry.
No, Pierre, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because when you lie, you alter the reality of a person.
Yeah.
So when you lie, you want to preserve yourself, and it's a selfish act. When you tell the truth, you want to release yourself. Yes, it's a selfish act either, but at least you resettle the reality for the person.
Yeah.
So you don't create a fracture in the reality. It's why I don't want to lie the least possible in life, because I don't want to create alternate reality for people so they don't understand what's going on in their life because they don't have the whole picture. It's like you are manipulating a person. It's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But then it's to what gain and how innocuous is the thing. Like that's what Madge pointed out, right? It's like if it's some sort of convenience or and it will never be uncovered and it's just to massage a moment in time, right? Versus this what you just said, Pierre. That's kind of the magnitude differences we're
Yeah,
navigating in,
I,
right?
I, I think I understand what you're saying, but why? Why do you want to massage? A massage, it's like if I understand, it's like softening something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no,
yeah.
take it like a man. Sorry, no, but say why say
No, you might be able to take it, but maybe your audience, like you're at a dinner, your dinner party, and it's a certain someone's like sensitive other, and you know how they are, and you just want to like instead of taking the next, blowing it up. I'm steel manning, like I'm developing a scenario that maybe you find it permissible, and
Mm.
Well, the
like
classic is your wife asking you if she looks fat in that dress, right?
Or if you're doing the big Thanksgiving dinner, and then the turkey ends up on the floor, and you hurry up and scoop it back in the pan, and just serve it. And just kind of dust it off, and don't
Uh-huh.
oh yes, it's perfect. That's a live omission, by not telling anybody that it hit the floor.
yeah, I would have said that I messed up and we would have found another solution.
no, I do agree with Pierre though, and the way I use it to great effect at work. When I mess up, I tell everyone immediately, and it's not something that's like a common thing
Hmm.
for other people to
Yeah,
do.
it's definitely not.
It's not common, and but the way I've kind of developed, and I think it is being picked up on after weeks of doing this. Like it's not like I do big mess ups, but it's enough to be noticed, right? Because everyone has little mess ups, especially if you're like, I mean, it's hard to describe the whole environment, um, but basically, I can tell that other people are now okay. Sorry, I say my mess up in a playful way, like, "Oh, I fucked up."
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Like, look at me, I'm a fucking idiot.
it's
Yeah,
And
human.
then
yeah.
now I can tell other people are like, "Oh, this is better than me just trying to bullshit you."
Yeah, absolutely. And
Because I'm
it's human to
saving
mess up.
face. I'm like, I'm just an idiot. Like I'm not trying to like be the be all end all. I'm just haha,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
hurt
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't hurt me. I'm honest.
Exactly. Yeah,
Aren't we talking about integrity earlier?
It's
Th-
you bringing your own shield rather
This
than just
is
Integrity is right. Yeah.
yeah.
this is
Back to
integrity.
dignity, right? It's more dignified.
Remaining yourself, no matter. Don't lie. Be a good person. This is the true integrity for me. This is not what you think of yourself or what the other think of yourself. This is remaining in your rules and in the good side. Don't fall in the dark side. We don't need another Darth Vader.
I think this is like the difference between people who are clever intelligent and like morally intelligent. So like clever people are good at playing with like variables, and then like, morally intelligent are they're trying to stick to like the feelings based rules. I believe morality is based on how people feel, and like if you have good morals, you feel good. Like if you're not lying, you feel good about that. Like it's like
I,
morals
I,
are
I I'd say that
sorry,
also ties into what you've been taught,
Hmm.
which part?
the
How so?
morals part,
I
because
think
Yeah.
morality is relative.
It's
my
it's
my
a
morals my morals
coupling.
before I gotta say my morals before high school and my morals now have definitely changed a lot.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Your feelings develop too, right? Like you're a lot more stable as you get older
It's
than
supposed.
in the beginning when you're just a shithead.
Mhm.
Oh, I was a shithead 10 years ago,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Still am.
I'll be back.
Very
Still
recent.
are.
Still
Right.
am.
Right.
I was a shithead yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, you
I'm,
still are too.
I'm
I had
gonna
to
be
wake up and go
shithead
to
for the
work.
rest of my life.
Yep.
I think
Deja vu.
that's a good realization that we all realize that. Yeah, we are all still that and always will be.
That's humility, right? Like that's
Yeah.
even
Well,
because
I
as
don't know if that's
soon
necessarily humility as much as it's at least self-acknowledgement and
Yeah,
recognition.
Yes.
self-awareness. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
self-awareness.
Self-awareness is a
Okay, so what's the difference?
Oh,
So we're
man.
decoupling concepts. Self-awareness versus humility. We're
Okay, well, if
separating
I'm
concerns.
self-aware, like I can tell you that I am one of the smartest individuals that I know, and that it's probably not good idea for people to challenge me on an intellectual basis, because I will, generally speaking, come out ahead, because not many people are my match intellectually. That's not humble, but that is self-aware.
That's not humble.
That is
You
self-aware based on your limited like population.
No,
bias.
it's not a limited control group. I have tested this theory over and over and over again.
How many? How many? How many? People.
Hundreds,
Oh,
thousands,
Thousands
Yeah.
of people.
thousands.
I mean,
Well, there's
I think
billions
the
of us.
point is that it doesn't matter how often you test it. The fact that you
Right,
believe
that's-
it.
It's confirmation
is-
bias, right? That's
Well, it doesn't even matter if it's confirmation bias. Like he's proven it to himself well enough that he accepts it as the truth. So he believes, even if it's not true, if he's lying to himself, if we want to stay on theme, even if he believes it, he believes that that is self-awareness, and that is not humility. So
no,
yeah, they
that's
are two
correct.
very
I do,
different
but
things.
Madge, I have a question.
Not saying that you're not the smartest person in the room, Madge.
Yes,
I'm just
that-
saying,
I
like,
agree.
if it happens to be that you are lying to yourself, then it's still
Yeah.
your reality.
Exactly.
Correct.
Two
Yes.
questions then. First, have you met
Okay.
anyone who is smarter than you, and have you consciously made a note of being like, you are smarter than me? And
He's
because
met
I believe
me.
Here's the thing. Okay, so
that's
to answer
humility.
that question,
That is humility, I think.
to answer that question, humility in that aspect, as far as what you're considering about who is and is not smarter than me, you have to understand that I recognize different kinds of smarts and intelligence, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you might be smarter than I am in a particular way, in a way that I am not as capable, and I might be smarter than you in a particular way that you are not as capable. And in that regard, we are equals because we each have our own leg up on each other, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's humility. That's humility. Is allowing you to be my equal. That's humility.
Well, that's almost it's teamwork to say you're good at one thing, I'm good at other. Let's leverage each other's assets, like to each other's benefits. That's teamwork, right?
Well, that's
Yeah. Okay. So how much humility is required to function as a proper team?
not much.
Yeah. Like
Not much, really.
you just need to not think you're better. Like you just like I'm better in this, you're better in that. Let's only do those things. And right? Like is that
Well, you don't even need
humility?
humility. You don't even need humility at all to come to that
No.
agreement with each other.
No, you don't need humility for that. So then what, Madge, when do you use humility then?
When I'm trying to get people to respect me.
Okay.
What?
It's a manipulation tactic.
Yeah, the
Correct.
trying.
Yeah. Why are we using humility?
As a weapon.
Why are we using?
Because I'm a
humility?
narcissist. That's exactly.
Well, we
my
know
point.
that. Okay, but it
I
was
believe he's honest.
it was Luke's question. Swole, what is
Yes.
humility?
Yes. There. What is humility?
I think humility comes with wisdom, which is not the same as intellect. It's knowing that being wise enough to know that you don't know a whole lot of stuff and you're not as good as you think you were. You know what I mean? And just to know that you're I think that you almost have to believe. In my opinion, of course, you almost have to believe in a higher power to realize you're not God. You're not the all end. All be all. Whatever that saying is. Um, and to
End
put
all
others
be all.
first. I mean, that's yeah, end all be all. Yeah. And putting others first because you realize that you are not all that. You know what I mean? And you're consciously putting others first, but before yourself. Is that's the and when you're doing that, then it takes the focus off yourself. I think it has to be a conscious effort to not focus on all about me and focus on others. If you're doing that and practicing that, you become more and more humble, I guess, in
Yeah.
that endeavor. Um, as far as being like Jesus and being completely humble, I don't think that's so.
I think it's
It's
demigod.
impossible.
I forget what it's called, but it's like Plato's cave or like the inner god complex. I forget what it's precisely called, but it's something I ran into at the beginning of the year, and I think humility is the equal and opposite force, as you just said. Like, but I'm trying to
Mhm.
say it in more philosophical, like ancient Greek
Yeah.
terms. Like it's like Plato's cave, like escaping the cave, the demigod within you, like defeating, like killing the god within you, like
Hmm. Yeah.
like the
Exactly.
thing that wants to say that I can take on everything and kill everyone and be smarter and all the everything ever, like that's what humility
Hmm.
defeats. It's the counteracting, right? Because you can't be both humilitous and say that you can just do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. And with that humility comes, like Luke does at work. He points out, and I do the same kind of thing. It's like you mess up, you have no problem letting people know that you messed up. I
Yeah.
have no problem immediately saying, "Hey, because I know I'm flawed." I think that's the realization that you know you're flawed, that you do make mistakes, and you're okay with it. That's a huge part of being, you know, having a humble spirit at least. I mean, when none of us are completely humble, my name is Swole Noggin for a reason. you know, I get a big head, and that's kind of a joke on myself because I get a big head about myself. So that is part of the name, besides the workout thing and everything else. But it's
Like, I mean,
part of
I'm
And the
Magic
fact that
Name
you
and
have an
gimmick.
enormous head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your
Besides the
magic. Yeah.
enormous head, it has many, many layers and meanings
Yeah.
because it's a joke
Entendres.
on myself. Um,
Yeah.
but you're realizing that you are not perfect, and I see people all the time in my work life and everything else that will lie. Going back to that's how we got here. Will lie about every single stupid little thing and try to
Yeah,
cover
like
up all these stupid mistakes, and it's like because they're so afraid to be wrong, to
yeah.
be it's like no, you can be wrong. It's fine. It's it's freeing to be wrong. It's
I've been
freeing
wrong
to
before.
realize I'm not perfect. Yeah, when? Whatever. Shut up. You're the narcissist. Remember? Keep it there.
That's one of my favorite phrases, though.
That
You
just
just
means
tell
when
that
he's
to
wrong,
anyone in
he's the
more
best at it.
I've been
Yeah,
wrong
he's the
before.
best at being
Okay.
wrong. You've never been as wrong as me before.
Oh my
I've
god.
got a story that will trump your story of how wrong you were. See,
I bet
Oh.
you. I bet you. I bet you. We
I
can.
know
We
you
can.
do.
We
I
can
know
put
you
that.
do. I know you do. Okay, I got you. I don't think anybody can be as wrong as. No, never mind. I'm just kidding.
I look, Madge, in your defense, I feel like I'm narcissist as well. I've just learned to be subtle about it.
I
Like,
mean,
Oh,
everybody is.
I
honest
am
to
not
God,
subtle.
like,
You've
I am not
learned
at
to
all.
lie about it.
no,
Oh.
subtle,
Uh-huh.
to be subtle.
Tact,
Yeah.
tact,
Tactful.
subtlety. Yeah.
Like,
I think.
And just the endeavor of being to be being humble. Just in talking about it, when I'm talking about it and trying to describe being humble and talking about myself being humble is kind of narcissistic
yeah, well,
bragging. You know what I mean? It's like it's
everything, yeah.
self-defeating to talk about being. You can't talk about being humble if you're actually humble.
You
So
can't talk. Yeah,
Yes,
well,
you can. Yes, you can. Are you out of your mind?
He's
Come on.
right. He's right. He's right. There's nothing
You can't.
less
I am
humble.
terrible
I'm the
at being
humblest
humble.
guy in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Like, because
anymore.
Yes, yes. You have
here's
to
what
say you're
I've
terrible. to be humble.
learned. You can't be someone and utterly self-defeatist and apathetic and prostrated and let people stab you and also try and achieve like great things. Like, there's no great people who just sat there and took everything and then like did nothing.
Well,
There's
they
no one.
usually tell other people that, hey, you're not getting stabbed as many times as I am. You could do more, right?
But no one remembers those people. No, none of those people are at the top. You know, none of those people are like doing things. Like, they're just whining. They're on the internet. They're just like screaming at each other. They're like making and breaking group chats. Like, it's like there's a nothingness to their whole ideal. It's like, so to what Swollenmagen's saying, like, when you are so familiar with what you think to be the truth, when you describe the truth, it sounds narcissistic because you're like, look how great I am. I know all these things that make me a great person. Like, well, you know what I mean? Like,
Deja
it's
vu.
like,
All
how
right.
can you describe greatness without sounding like an asshole?
Just use my name.
Yeah,
Just use my name.
exactly.
Like, you
Yeah.
We
can't.
just, yeah.
Which
We
is
could
why
just
you
talk
have to be
Magic.
about
subtle.
magic.
Which is
Not
what,
me.
but
Not
then
me personally. Magic. Magic it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing.
my
Oh,
alter
not you
ego.
personally. Okay.
Yeah, right.
What say you, Pierre? I ain't heard you in a minute.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
by the way, I don't think your mic is really right. Just, I think have your open air mic on.
Hello,
So,
Pierre.
hello,
Hello?
Yes.
Pierre.
Oh, you
Yeah,
good?
I don't think your mic is actually working. I don't think you did the settings right. But that's beside the point. I'm just letting you know. But
Uh,
what you say? What you got to
We got
say
8
about
minutes left, and now you
humility?
call him out on his mic.
Yeah, I know.
do you hear me now?
You
I
sound
hear
great,
you.
Pierre. What
Yeah,
do
we hear
you
you.
think,
Go
Pierre?
for it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do you hear me well or?
Yeah, we
Huh?
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can
You're
hear
good.
you.
Okay.
We can hear
I don't understand. A few seconds
you.
before.
I'm sorry.
No, hey,
I'm
it was a
sorry.
moment. It was a moment, and now we're here. What do you got to say, Pierre?
We're talking about humility. Just forget
Great,
that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
great
messed you
job.
up.
You got him self-conscious about his mic.
No, it's
Yeah.
skip through that. It's
We all have mic problems sometimes, man. It's okay. I mean, it happens with age.
I
You
don't
know.
think I have a mic problem.
I think your mic is great. What do you think, Pierre?
Sorry, I don't follow.
We went on
He
this
thinks
too
his
long.
mic is great as well. Yes.
We
Yeah.
think your mic is great.
I'm not
Yeah, it's
being
great.
sarcastic. I actually don't agree with him. Just what do you think? What do you think, Pierre?
Yeah, but I don't follow. I just have the impression that you were making fun of me, and I don't
Oh
understand.
no, I am. No, that is.
We're making fun of Swole.
No.
We are making fun of
Yes, they're
Swole.
making fun of me. Or
Okay.
me this way.
Yeah.
But yes, we were talking about humility.
Yes.
Yes.
What are your
Yes,
thoughts
we
on
were.
humility?
For me, humility is it's like knowing what you're capable of, but not involving the ego. So
Mm.
bringing what you can bring to the table, but don't expect any flattering or nothing
Hmm.
from it. I don't know if
Praise.
yeah. Don't expect any praise. Yeah, just
But, you know,
do you and nothing else.
just
So
be your best.
yeah, so it's okay to know that you have a great intellect, but don't be a dick about it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
tastefulness of your
Exactly.
execution.
The dignity, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh, back to dignity.
dignity. Yeah.
Mhm.
Everything is connected. So when you want to be a good person, it's all revolved around the same thing always.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
is my
Honor,
mind
dignity, respect, humility.
Honor, dignity, respect, humility.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Wow, that was
I
good.
don't have my
That's
list with
good.
me. Yeah.
That was a great list. Where'd you get that
Nathan-
list from, Matt?
I think I found it in a book I read one time.
One of them books? Yeah,
the
one of them
Holy
old books.
Bible.
Don't tell anybody I read, okay?
Nathaniel,
What'd
what do
you
you
say, Nate?
Nathaniel, what do you think of humility?
Hmm.
How do you use it daily life?
I just go back to the topic of being able to admit when I'm wrong. But at the same time, I don't really think that's a. I I usually admit when I'm wrong because there's usually some fear of consequence. Because if I mess something up on a jet and I don't tell anybody I messed up, and that jet goes in the air and something happens, then I'm on investigation and I could go to jail. So I think
Yep.
my humility comes from fear of what could happen if I'm not honest.
Yeah, what's the difference between like
Mhm.
being humble in that way and just being completely open and honest about everything just by nature? 'Cause that's him. That's Nate.
Coercion?
The entire time
No,
his
I think
growing up,
no,
he
I
was just
get him. I
completely
get
honest about
him.
everything.
I understand. Like he's how he learned humility. Like the stakes of not being truthful and to be
Mm-hmm.
truthful you need to be humble. I think
Mm-hmm.
is that what you're saying, Nate?
Yes, and it comes with an aspect of fear as well.
Yeah.
That's the motivator.
Aspect of
Consequence.
fear.
It's
Yeah,
it's
consequence.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Which I mean,
biological.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
Yeah, yeah.
Because let's say I don't.
There's
Let's say I don't.
there's two kind of humility.
Yeah.
yeah, how
yeah.
you get it, how you got it, like how you your source. Because like
Knowledge or feeling.
people who don't have that high stakes, right? Like, you know, if I mess up crackers, I'm not sending 1,000 people in the air to die. So,
Mm.
so for me, it to me it comes down in that case simulation. Like it's like you're simulating the same stakes that Nate goes through. Like Nate is feeling like a real destructive thing that is like of the utmost proportion, like apocalyptic levels of like kind of like it's do or die, right? I don't I yeah, I'm not going to feel the same way making crackers unless
Mm-hmm.
I simulate that. And I think that's where the whole idea of fear of God comes from, or like fear of consequences, because not
Mm-hmm.
everyone has that same consequence, so they don't become familiar with it. So a bunch of people one day said, it might be good if we could teach people these things without them, you know, working on airplanes. Like because not everyone can work on airplanes. And
Mm.
but we want accountants to be humble too. You know, we want the average, you know, cashier clerk to not steal money from the till. So how do we take that process that Nate goes through, you know, like if I don't do this, people die, and dissolve that into a narrative and then feed that narrative to the public in
It's
so
called
that
religion.
precisely. So it's the delivery mechanism of the lesson.
Morals, myths, fables,
Right.
parables, all of these things. Yeah.
Because there's always a sect of people who are dealing with like the stuff Nate is, and then there's the sect of people who are doing the house chores or gardening or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and yet they all need to be responsible and they all need to learn truth, but not all of them are going to be met with the same stakes. Not and
Same consequences.
neither should they, right? Like we don't want everyone living in terror that someone is going to like die if they don't do their job right. That's just not like the reality.
If I don't tighten this bolt to exactly 160 inch pounds, I'm going to jail.
Exactly. Well,
Right.
that's
Right. Exactly 160 inch pounds. And that's to
yeah,
be
not
measured in
above, not
pascals, by the
below,
way.
right? Like
Pascals.
yeah, it's the precision. People don't have to work with
Nice.
precision everywhere.
Nope.
Okay. So great. This is awesome. I appreciate all of y'all coming on here and I appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
son, for
3, 2,
everything
1.
you do.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you for
our
your
hour
service.
limit.
Thank you for your service,
Cerberus.
soldier
I'm a,
or
be straight
warrior.
up with you. I request that no one say thank you for your service yet, because all I've done is sit in an office and drink coffee and read books.
What? Don't tell us those. That's
Thank you for
national
your
secrets.
service.
Please don't do that.
I say the same thing, man. Look, I served on reserve duty for 3 years. I never went overseas. They chaptered me out on medical because I failed a psych eval. Okay, anybody
was
that
too
tells
smart.
me thank you for your service is a veteran. I'm like, just forget about it. It's fine. Don't worry. I didn't serve you. I went through
I
basic
feel
training.
like
Yeah.
it's a strange feeling, because like I'll go out. Let's say I get off work like today. Actually, I had to go to AutoZone to get some more light bulbs for my car because my left light bulb went out. And the cashier, as I was checking out, he was like, "I'm gonna give you the military discount and thank you for your service, sir." It's not. It doesn't feel how I expected it to when I was a civilian. It
Mhm.
feels weird because I haven't really done anything yet.
But
Realistically, I'm a
you
month
are.
and a
But
half
you
in.
belong to the government. You have signed that contract, and you
Yeah.
and willingly are there for if something goes down. So
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
yeah,
thank you for that sacrifice. It is a sacrifice, even though you haven't had to fulfill
absolutely.
it yet.
It's a
You know.
commitment. It's a commitment.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
Yes, you're
necessarily a
committed.
responsibility.
sacrifice. It's a commitment.
So
As soon as you're engaged in the army,
Yeah.
or you're at the service of your country, that's it.
Yeah. Like
mhm.
Yeah.
same could be said for marriage. Like, you get married.
Mhm.
Thank you for your service.
That's a holy union. That is a completely different conversation.
You are married to that military. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. We got to end the show. It's been great.
Okay.
I appreciate everybody coming on. Love
Thank
you
you.
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you guys.
Love you,
Great to be
son.
here.
Love you, brother. Love you,
Love you, Dad.
Madge, Luke,
Love
Pierre,
you, Dad.
and Tom
Yes.
is
Love
hiding
you
in the
guys.
background for some reason. Love you
Yeah,
guys.
nice to
Y'all
meet you
have a great
guys.
night.
Nathaniel, Pierre, nice to see you guys.
Nice to
Yes,
meet all you
sir.
gentlemen.
All right, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.